Hi voice users. This is a 3D look into the effects of WRVT, water-resistant voice therapy, on the voice using vocal tubes. The effects and benefits of this amazing SOVT method are not tangible. You cannot see it, but you certainly can feel its incredible effects. This is how it works. You get a bottle of water, about 5 centimeters high, and you place the flat end of the vocal tube into the mouth just past the lips, and the free angled end is submerged into the water. You basically produce voiced sounds or different phonatory tasks through the vocal tube into the water. The user continues to phonate, or make sound, with different phonatory tasks until the desired result. Breathing, the inhale and exhale of air, should be comfortable and relaxed. The lips should be firmly but comfortably closed around the vocal tube, and the cheeks should simply feel relaxed and let go of, so to speak. When engaged in WRVT, there are 3 categories of things happening. Part 1. Airflow resistance. Without resistance, you cannot develop strength. The 3 most important variables that affect airflow resistance in WRVT are: 1. The depth of the water column, which is the depth ranging from the water surface to the angled end of the tube that is submerged in water. 2. The vocal tube length. And 3. The vocal tube inner diameter. These all affect the degree of airflow resistance that a person can feel during WRVT. The right amount of airflow resistance is the key to an individual training for vocal strength in a healthy way, and also to training the phonatory system to produce easy phonation, even though you have some resistance. This means that when you put the vocal tube into the water, one needs to keep and maintain a posture of easy phonation whilst doing higher resistance exercises. This is beneficial to the voice user because it is a healthy way of preparing the voice for real-life vocal demands. WRVT, water-resistant voice therapy, or voice training, using a device like the vocal tubes, is a well-documented method of SOVTE, semi-occluded vocal tract exercise. WRVT has been described as the difference between exercising and running in water as opposed to exercising or running on land. Now, when you're exercising on land, there's more impact or stress on the joints. But when you exercise in water, there is less impact or stress on the joints, but you still get that needed healthy resistance that helps to increase mechanical strength. This is the same kind of principle for the voice when engaged with WRVT. Airflow resistance is probably the most important part of WRVT. The most important difference is that the airflow resistance is higher in WRVT than compared to straw in air. Airflow resistance is another variable that is massively important in WRVT and SOVT in general. Part 2. Inertance. Inertance is one of the more difficult acoustic concepts to understand because it's not tangible or visible, but one can feel it. So, think of inertance like a balancing act. So, semi-occluded vocal tract exercises are voice training and voice therapy exercises involving the following. 1. The lengthening of the vocal tract. And 2. The occlusion or the semi-occlusion of the vocal tract. That's another way of saying partially closed to the lips. So, sound basically starts with the source, vocal folds, and when air coming from the lungs interacts with the vocal folds, we get the vocal fold vibration. Now this initial starting point creates something essentially called sound waves, or better still, sound. The sound then interacts with air pressures within the vocal tract, which is the acoustic room or filter that shapes and adds character to the sound that comes out of the mouth. And then, once it's done its job in the vocal tract, the sound is then transformed as it exits the vocal tract to the listener's ear. This transformation can be in the form of words or the nuances of tonal qualities. Inertance is the ultimate result of the balance between air pressures from below the vocal folds and acoustic back pressures from above the vocal folds. When these pressures come together and are in balance, the vocal folds can vibrate most freely and efficiently. Inertance increases when energy boosts from around the vocal tract work together, increasing the overall acoustic energy that returns to the vocal folds, giving the vocal folds a more effective, easier and stronger push and pull. Vibration effect, helping the vocal folds to open and close easier. It's like a friendly open and close helper, without having to pump as hard, using all that extrinsic muscular tension around the neck area, which ultimately means a happier voice. WRVT exercises lengthen the vocal tract even more because of the very long tube and narrow opening which is submerged in water, creating more areas of helpful resonance and increased acoustic back pressure that helps the vocal folds vibrate even more easily. Part 3. Sensory stimulation. Sensory stimulation is a big deal with huge benefits. Accurately applied WRVT also provides an important source of sensory stimulation based on two main types of sensations that we tend to feel. These sensations are the massage-like sensation and easy phonation. The massage-like sensation, caused by the oral pressure oscillation, is a significant discovery about WRVT. It is this oral pressure oscillation which is attributed to the massage-like sensation of WRVT. The massage-like effect of WRVT is a great source of sensory stimulation necessary to 1. Change the voice production pattern, or what we call the vocal demand response, the behavior of the vocal folds and the vocal tract, and how it responds to vocal demand and vocal load. And 2. Reduce the sensation of muscle tension, the sensations of vocal fatigue, and throat discomfort in general. The bubbles in the water create pulsatil, or pulsating oral pressure, around 15 to 40 Hz, which basically creates a movement of laryngeal, pharyngeal, and oral tissues contributing to the massage-like sensation of WRVT, which in turn promotes a reduction in the sensations of muscle tension and vocal fatigue in the user. These feelings are so necessary in order to change voice production patterns or behavior. So we're talking about sensory stimulation that actually affects the brain and how the brain communicates with our voice and vocal tract and breathing system to make permanent positive changes to the bad habits our voices can sometimes adapt. The main areas that are supposedly reported to oscillate during WRVT are 1. The oral cavity, 2. The laryngeal area, and 3. The pharyngeal area. The bubbling in the water creates a kind of current of air bubbles that travels up the wider tube more effortlessly and gives you that wonderful massaging and open feeling we all love. And this is one of the distinctions between this type of oscillating a pressure device versus a steady air pressure device, like a straw in air. Easy phonation. When engaged in this amazing SOVT exercise, more of the inertive pressure in the vocal tract, as mentioned, inertance in this case means pressure heading back towards the vocal folds, is forced to stay in the vocal tract. This makes vocal fold vibration a lot easier. As the vocal folds open, positive pressure in the vocal tract above pushes the vocal folds apart even more. As the vocal folds close, negative pressures in the vocal tract above pulls converge the vocal folds together even more into a very squared up, symmetrical, optimized position. Now, when these positive and negative pressures of the vocal tract synchronize with the opening and closing of the vocal folds, it's like giving someone a push on the swing at the exact right time. With this vocal tube phonation, more of this lovely vocal tract inertance pressure exists. So, to go with the swing metaphor, the vocal folds are getting a stronger push and pull without having to pump as hard using all the extrinsic neck muscles.